Hey guys, welcome back to the third video of this Role of a President series. Again, I'm Mr. Jarvis, and this video I'd like to focus with you on delegation. This is honestly probably one of the hardest things that most presidents have to learn to do. It's something I have to learn to do. I still have to learn to do it as an advisor, working with 4 other advisors at McCracken County High School. So what is delegation? To delegate means that you're going to take something and assign or allow other people to help you with that task. Okay, so why do presidents not like to delegate? Well, the answer is simple. Most presidents, if you go back to our last video, have a red personality style where they want to be right. They want to be the ones to get it done. And as a red personality myself, I know that I would rather do it myself and know that it's done right and that I'm the one that took care of it. But now that you have been given the task of leading this chapter, you have to look at it totally different. In order for everything to be successful, it works better when all of those personalities are working together and everybody is focused on their task of making this chapter great. Okay? So, as president, your job is going to be to make everybody in the chapter feel as active and as welcome as they possibly can. Okay? And in order to do that, I've got 3 tips that may help you to delegate to people or to get other people active. Okay, first piece of information that I would give you is to talk regularly with your advisor and with your officer team or executive committee, depending on how your chapter is set up. So the advisor, here by the owl, is there to advise. And that sounds, profound, like, wow, Jarvis, you really came up with one there. But as the advisor, typically we have all these ideas going on in our head. I'm sure you're probably thinking of your advisor right now and the scary things that may be going on in an advisor head. But a lot of times those may not get communicated out to you regularly. So make sure that you take time to check in with your advisor and your team. So what does that look like? First, I would recommend scheduling regular team meetings, whether that be your officer team exclusively, whether it be your executive team, committees, but you want to set up regular meetings with those people. Okay, why? And the why is because as president, while you may not be physically doing every activity, you want to know what's going on. Okay, you want to keep an idea of what's going on with the executive committee, what's going on with the building communities committee, and feed ideas their way so that they can accomplish their work. Okay, it's not meant for you to tell them this is what you're going to do and this is how you're going to do it. It's not meant for that. Okay, what it is meant for is to throw around ideas as a group and say, all right, Joe, would you mind to be the one to call Farm Bureau to see if they would speak at this event? Jimmy, will you see about bringing cupcakes to our next meeting? And you're lining up these different things that everybody can have a role. Okay, because one thing that I hear over and over and over again is, well, the president does everything and doesn't let me do anything. Well, I want to do something and they don't let me do anything. So don't be that president. Okay, be the president that's listening, that then can delegate out tasks so that the main objective is accomplished, but you're not having to work yourself to death to make it happen. Okay, the second thing. Make sure that you set up a time to check in with your advisor. And I said, there's all these ideas going on in an advisor's head, and we get into the grind of we have these classes to teach, we have our planning period to take a break, we have all these FFA contests going on. So there's a lot going on, and you all know that because you've been there. So take advantage of time before school, after school, just to stop in and say hi. Okay, one of the best times is during my planning period. Our president from time to time will stop by and be like, "Hey Jarvis, what's going on?" Okay, and typically during that time is whenever I'm like, "Oh yeah, I need to tell so and so that we've got this going on or this coming up or get ideas on this." Okay, so just take a couple minutes, stop by, see how your advisor's doing. Check on them. Life is rough on us too, being at home all the time. So call, see what's going on. Just check in from time to time. And finally with that, don't forget about the members. We get so caught up with our executive team and our committees and the leaders in our chapter that we forget about the member. And we're here as officers to serve our members. So take a chance, every now and then find a new member, talk to them, gather their opinions. Well, ask them what's something they would like to see in their chapter or something they may like to see change, something they enjoy, and roll with it. Okay, so take time for them. The second big thing is to know your chapter structure. Okay, so in knowing your chapter structure, I would recommend that you take advantage of your committees. Okay, I know that there are a lot of chapters out there that do committee work wonderfully. And I am jealous of you if you're in a chapter that does that. That has functioning committees, that the committees plan out the activities, that they work towards the program of activities, and that everybody's on the same page. That is awesome. And I applaud you for it. If you're not that chapter, then I would challenge you to try to set up a committee or two and see how it goes. So the way that National FFA describes our committee structure is everything is based on 3 committees. That is the Growing Leaders Committee, the Building Communities Committee, and the Strengthening Agriculture Committee. Okay, so at the very least, your chapter could have those 3 committees. Okay, so what would go in those committees? All right, let's say that I have a farm to fork dinner coming up that our FFA chapter is going to be involved with. Who do you think I'm going to go to? Okay, well, and again, that's up to you as a leader. That's up to your chapter. It could go to the Strengthening Agriculture Committee because you're working with agriculture. It could go to the Building Communities Committee. But one of those 2 committees needs to have the job of working on planning that event. What if you're going to have a guest speaker to come in about texting and driving and about the dangers of it? Okay, that's probably going to go to the Building Leaders Committee. Now, let's say you're a larger chapter, and even with just 3 committees, those 3 committees are overrun with different activities. National FFA actually lists out several different committees under those main 3. Okay, things like the Leadership Committee, the Healthy Lifestyles Committee, the Scholarship Committee, Personal Growth, Career Success, Environmental, Human Resource, Citizenship, Stakeholder Engagement, Economic Development, Support Group, Chapter Recruitment, Safety, Ag Advocacy, and Ag Literacy. There's a bunch of them, okay? Now, again, your chapter is perfectly fine if they don't have all those. McCracken County FFA does not have all those. We have the Growing Committee, the Growing Leaders, Building Communities, and Strengthening Agriculture, and work with those to try to plan events. But maybe your chapter has more leaders and you recognize that there are more people that need an active role in the chapter. So try out some of those committees, throw them ideas, delegate to them different parts of the program of activities, and let them come up with ways to make it happen. Okay? At this point, I'll tell you, remember, you are a president, you're not a dictator. Okay, so you're not there to tell everybody that this is how it's going to be. Your job is to bounce off ideas and let the chapter figure out what they want to do. Okay, you help to facilitate, make it happen. Okay, so finally, on our Google Classroom, I have left you some resources. Again, you can just kind of thumb through them. So 3 pieces, 2 of them are posted online. Number 1 is a state rating form. with your secretary, one of the jobs of the president is to help fill out that chapter rating form. So the chapter rating form or the state rating form, either way, is used to help give points to different activities that you as a chapter do. Okay, and it's a document. You can go on there and see that having a parent member banquet is worth X amount of points. All right, and your goal then is to receive a rating, and the ratings are either gold, silver, or bronze. Okay, and so set a goal for your chapter with that state rating form. If you haven't ever filled out one, maybe you want to fill out one, and for this first year, you want to be a bronze emblem chapter. And that's great. Set that goal, work towards it, delegate to people to make it happen. Maybe you were a silver rated chapter this year and you want to work up towards a gold rating. Go for it. Do it. That's great. Maybe for the past 50 years, your chapter has gotten a gold emblem and you want to keep the streak alive. That's great. Go for it. Okay. But that state rating form is a great place to get ideas for things that you can incorporate into your chapter, and as president, to delegate and help other people do. The other is the national rating form. Okay. This year, I believe in the state of Kentucky, we had 14 chapters to turn in national rating forms. Okay. Your chapter may call it Form 1 and Form 2. Okay. So with Form 2, the national rating form, your chapter has to put in 3 activities for growing leaders, 3 activities for building communities, and 3 activities for strengthening agriculture. Each of those activities has to have 3 goals. You have to talk about how you implemented an action plan to meet those goals and the outcome of those goals, the impact that the activity had on your chapter or the community or on strengthening agriculture. Okay, so again, these pieces of paper, this paperwork, is very overwhelming if you try to do it by yourself. Okay, but through delegation, you can make it happen and have some really great activities. Wouldn't it be great to be able to go to the Strengthening Ag Committee whenever it's time to fill out this national rating form and have them jot down the planning that they had done for an activity? That is true involvement. Okay, now I know this video is getting kind of long, but I do want to mention delegation does not mean it is your ticket out of doing anything. All right. I have known officers, I've known people, you may see politicians that do it, that they say, yeah, I'm a good delegator. Well, that's great, but then they don't ever do anything. They don't hold their own weight, okay? So just because you need to be a delegator doesn't mean you give everything away, all right? But just understand that it is okay to let other people work through these activities. It's actually good to delegate them things to do so that they can play an active role in your chapter. Okay, the final thing that I did mention with the national rating and state rating, there's also your program of activities. Look for an activity in that program of activities and set and figure out somebody based on their personality that would be good to delegate that information to. Okay, so check out those documents. Again, don't forget about our Google Meets meeting on July the 17th, 10 o'clock Central Standard Time. And we can talk about how to set up those committees and your role in delegating information to those committees on that day. Come up with questions. If you want to post some questions onto this video, I'll try to check in some and give you some feedback. But thanks for watching and look for our next video, which is going to be over introducing a speaker. Thanks, guys.